iRock Radio, the world headquarters of rock. It's Mike Karolyi in Studio 64 for a different experience. Normally we have bands in here, but today we have Heidi Voight and Ted Koppy. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Hi, Mike.
So this is our Studio 64. Unless you guys want to do a song or something, we'll just have some nice conversation.
Okay.
She's a good singer,
we
by the
could
way.
do songs
She could
too.
do a song.
So what is your musical background? I do understand you've been in bands in the past.
Well, so I'm not classically trained or anything. I was self-taught. 7th grade talent show. A couple of my girlfriends and I decided to teach ourselves how to play, and we played a whole song. I think it was Softer Softest and Violet. And we loved it. And so we started a band. It was an all-girl band called Ancora, and we stayed with it all through high school. And it went through a couple lineup changes over the years, but straight through my early 20s. We were the youngest band to ever play at Toad's Place.
Really?
We were all 14 years old. We opened up, there's still an article in the Hartford Courant if you Google around for it. I think we opened up for Trial Mile at that show in Groove Fiction Sex Ceremony, which was a band that was around way back when. Oh, man, we had some good times. We opened for Marshall Tucker Band, Arlo Guthrie, Richie Havens, but that was not at all our genre. It was kind of weird that we were paired. One time we even opened up for 98 Degrees.
Really?
Which was, yeah, but it's ridiculous because we were kind of like a little Riot Girl band, so it did not match up at all.
That's pretty cool experience, though, especially playing at Toad's Place. I mean, it's a legendary venue to be able to perform there. I mean, I was even thrilled when I got to do a stage announcement there, let alone performing in a band. That's cool.
You're standing on the stage and you're like, the Rolling Stones play here. Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison got arrested after he stood on this stage in the streets of New Haven. You know, it's so cool. And I did it on a school night.
Even better.
Because I had a really cool mom who really encouraged us to pursue music. So
if you started a new band, what would Ted's role be?
Oh, gosh. Well, Ted actually is a kind of a musical talent himself. You play guitar.
Talent's kind of a liberal word, but yeah. I was in a band for a short time in college, and I played guitar. Not lead. I was the enthusiastic guy, not the talented guy.
Rhythm.
So I played rhythm, did some singing, and filled in on drums. Drummers quit all the time, and that happened to our band. So every time the drummer quit, I would hop on the drums and play drums.
Like Spinal Tap.
Poorly.
When they combust and they're gone, they need a new drummer, right?
We were about as funny as Spinal Tap.
That's good, though,
Lasted
right?
for a couple of years. It was a blast. I would love to do it again.
Were they covers or originals?
Covers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm learning. I didn't know that about Ted.
See? That's what happens in Studio 64.
great.
You learn all kinds of new things. It's amazing, right?
It is.
Your chemistry seems to be really good. You know, the two of you seem to get along well, and you can play off of each other and stuff. How long have you been co-anchoring together?
Well, actually, it's funny. Ted recently joined us at NBC Connecticut, but we've known each other for 10 years. We met in 2006 when I was Miss Connecticut because Ted's wife, Maria, was on the board of directors at the time for the Milford Rape Crisis Center, and I was doing a lot of charity work with that organization. And so our paths crossed, and then, of course, at News 8, or TNH, when you were working there, I came in for a few interviews, and so it's full circle.
Events, the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event as well, so we kind of went around and publicized some things. So we knew each other a little bit that long ago, and I was sort of aware of what Heidi was doing. It's hard to keep up with. Saying that complimentary, you've done a lot in that 10 years. You've done a ton in that 10 years. So I was really excited to get to work with her.
I know, I was so excited. When they told me I had a new co-anchor, I didn't know who it could have. I said, is it someone inside? Is it someone external? They said, it's an external hire. I said, okay, who is it? And they said, Ted Koppy. And I was, I know him. No.
Well, it can be difficult because I know in radio, a lot of times they'll try and throw a couple of people together to do a morning show or whatever. People who have never met. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And you have to have the right chemistry or else it really is, it comes off as phony. But you guys genuinely seem to get along.
I get that feedback about Heidi from a lot of people who maybe hadn't been watching in the past, so they know me, so they've tuned in. They're like, I like her. She seems like a real person, genuine. So that comes across.
Oh, well, thank you.
Which also makes her easy to work with.
Yeah,
you do seem like a real person. You're right here.
Well, I have the easiest job in the world. Yeah, here I am in the flesh. I'm not I didn't send my hologram twin here today. I really wanted to be here with you. But no, I have the easiest job in the world. We're so lucky. We just get to show up and I just have to be me. And I get paid to do it.
And I should mention I'm wearing my news jacket.
Yes.
Don't I seem very authoritative now?
Very much so.
Yeah. My iRock t-shirt and my
I like
jacket.
it a lot. It's a good look for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Tell me about television now, and radio has changed quite a bit. That's what brought us to iRock Radio when WCCC went away. The landscape has been changing in radio broadcasting, but it seems to be changing in television as well. What do you see as the future of news television and the way it's delivered? Do you think it'll maintain the way it is now, or do you think changes have to be made as far as the presentation of a newscast?
Well, first of all, I think there's a difference between network and local. They're two different animals. There's a lot of crossover, but it's kind of apples and oranges to a certain degree in terms of how people consume the news. There's the 24/7 news cycle with network, and then there's local news. And I think on the local news level, which is the world we live in, it's all about multi-platform and digital. A lot of people, more and more people, are getting their news digital first. Twitter. People get their news on Twitter, microblogging, apps in their phone. So you really have to become a master of all dissemination across all platforms, which is, I think it's exciting because it gives us, it's also more instantaneous. Breaking news happens, it's there right away. I mean, news never stops. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, for me, it's a new frontier. I mean, things have changed so much in the last few years, and the speed at which you have to react has increased exponentially. But I think it's a good thing, because it shows you that there is still a demand for what we do. But as you touched on, maybe it's going to be delivered, at least from a platform standpoint, in a bit of a different way. I don't know anything about this, but I could envision a time when it's delivered on demand. Maybe appointment television goes away, where you don't necessarily have a 4 p.m. newscast and a 5 p.m. newscast and a 6, but maybe you're sort of doing it all the time. I don't know. I could see that happening, but I have no idea if that's in the works.
We will see.
Yeah,
right?
we shall.
We will see. But it is exciting because change isn't always a bad thing. Change is actually a good thing most of the time because things are evolving.
It's evolution, yeah.
Tell me about, well, for one, I should mention that the date that we're recording this marks the 4th anniversary of Sandy Hook, the tragedy that happened 4 years ago. I remember where I was. I think we all remember where we were at that time. But as newscasters, how do you handle a story like that? Not that one in particular, but anything like that. When the news comes in and you have to deliver it to the public, maybe they're hearing it for the first time from you, and maybe you're even verbalizing all the news for the first time. How do you handle the emotion of that and still deliver the news?
It's a challenge for me. We're supposed to be very objective, and you got to hold it together and get through the task at hand. But I mean, as a person, I wear my heart on my sleeve. And so just yesterday, we had a story about a Santa Claus who was called into a hospital to be by the bedside of a terminally ill little boy who ended up dying in his arms. And I think we both came close to, choking up on the air. I mean, we're human beings. It's still, you still feel it. Brad Drazen was holding down the anchor desk at NBC Connecticut that day, Sandy Hook. And, he's a dad. He's got kids. I don't know. I don't know how he did it, how he got through it. You focus on, I guess, the task at hand being that you're informing, and people are relying on you to push out that information and to give them a clear picture of what's going on.
I was going to say, right, that I think knowing that is pretty sobering, and realizing that at that point, probably more than ever in your career, people are counting you to deliver information. I think people, I don't have any experience with the Sandy Hook massacre because I was not in the business at the time. So I didn't experience that like Brad did, but I would imagine that knowing that people are relying on you to deliver information, you do that, and you find the strength to do it. That said, I also believe that I've been in the business for over 20 years now. I think there's a different expectation of news anchors as opposed to then and even before then, where I think the audience now wants to see your human element.
Yes.
They're willing to allow that. Whereas, I think maybe back then the news anchor was supposed to be, all buttoned down and borderline stiff. Maybe not supposed to be, but that's kind of the way they came across, and detached. I think the audience wants to see that you actually understand what you're saying. You understand on an emotional level, and it's okay to show a bit of a reaction as long as you stay within professional parameters.
Right. I absolutely agree. And I think, I think it would be more disturbing to see someone deliver a story like that without any empathy, like a robot, would be very off-putting. Yeah.
as we now, I want to transition from heavy topics to something very light. We do a feature called 60 Seconds With.
Oh, okay.
So I've got a bunch of random questions. And if you're cool with it, I'll just do rapid fire questions for 60 seconds, see how many we can get through.
Rapid fire.
That sounds fun. Okay.
As rapid fire as I can be. Does
how
that
fast
sound
does your
good?
brain work? Okay, yeah.
All right, so we will do that next.
Okay, good.
Right here on iRock Radio, the world headquarters of rock.